Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to see all of you in our new workshop. And today, our guest speaker is Jiri. He's super experienced in data scraping and automation, sourcing automation. Data scraping is something that many people want to do, but not really do in their regular sourcing and recruitment activities. And Jiri will go step by step, and he will explain you how to how to actually make it, and how to start to use data scraping, and how you can benefit about it. Before we start, couple of words about Matter. Hello, guys. Hello, Dima. Hello, John. Montenegro, Canada. That's great. Prague. Uh, I'm Anastasia. I'm head of growth at Matter. And what we do at Matter actually, we help companies to source best candidates. So if you have any uh, troubles, big needs in high volumes of candidates, you don't want to invest in tools, you don't want to invest in recruitment agencies that are really expensive nowadays. We can help you with sourcing, and we will provide you week by week qualified candidates. And during the COVID times, a lot of companies decided to work remotely. We can also help you to find remote tech talent and cover all the operational things, issues, troubles, cost, everything. So if you want to hire developers in Eastern Europe, for example, and it will be beneficial for you, we can hire them. We can find an office for them. We can cover all the accounting and everything. So if you will help, we will need any help with sourcing. Doesn't matter what territory we do it globally. Just send us a message, and we will help you with sourcing and hiring remote talents. Uh, you can read more on our website, mature.io. And before we start, as usual, my favorite, our rules for the workshop. First, if you want to ask a question, please don't ask it in chat. Uh, in the bottom of the screen, you have ask a question field. In the end of the presentation, we will answer all the questions. If you will have super lot of questions, we will answer it in our Facebook group, and you can join it. You can see the button join workshop Facebook group. It's free. Just join it. No spam, no nothing. Just useful content from us and our speakers. Hi, Adrian. I'm happy to see you here. What else? Of course, everything will be recorded. We will share slides. We will share the recording. The recording will never disappear. So you can share it with colleagues. You can watch it whenever you want. Yep, I think these are the most important things. If you will have any troubles with video quality, just decrease it from HD to 360, just in your Crowdcast app. I think that's all from my part. And I'm here to introduce Jiri. I'm really a fan of Jiri because he works as a tech recruiter, and he works for many years as tech recruiter. He speaks on conferences. And what I love the most is that Jiri definitely sources and recruits IT talents every day, and he definitely can share some valuable tips and hints on how to find these people faster and save you time. So, hello, Jiri. How is it going?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to see so many famous names. Lots of from Czech Republic, which is country I come from, and perfect. So I hope that all of you will enjoy my practical webinar. Let's switch to my to my presentation. Actually, the presentation is very quick. I want the webinar to be the practical as much as possible. So if you will be having any questions after the webinar, feel free to reach out to me on my email, Herodek@gmail.com, or feel free to add me on LinkedIn, or you can check my website, jiriherodek.com, if you are interested in hearing some additional information and my blog posts. I'm sourcer, recruiter. So as Anastasia introduced me, I also train recruiters across the Europe. When it comes to the scrapping, just very briefly, I don't know how many people on webinar know what it exactly is. It's basically, in one sentence, extracting data from any website, source, whatsoever, and saving them to files. And of course, for sourcers and recruiters, it's useful because they can use it for, contacting, enriching candidates, and so on. Actually, I picked the free tools that I use very often. It's Instant Data Scraper, Data Miner, and Phantom Buster.
Yuri, let's ask our audience if
Yeah.
they use data scraping, and in general, share with us in the chat. Do you know what data scraping is, and what kind of tools do you use if you do data scraping? It's really interesting. Yeah, okay, we can share a presentation. We can stop sharing.
Yeah.
But in general, for example, you have to find certain profiles on LinkedIn and then instantly outreach them. What kind of tools will you use? Do you do everything manually, or do you use any tools for that?
I use tools. Oh, sorry, I have to switch back to my face to make it more personal. Yeah, actually, I can. I use a data miner for it and Phantom Buster. From various reasons. Phantom Buster, I will show you some practical examples, but in general, Phantom Buster is great because it has connection to some other social networks and tools, so it can create some kind of automation workflow. And it's one thing. And second thing, actually, it's for free. This is what we like as well, or actually, at least those features that I use are for free. You can have a premium version.
Tools are great.
Yeah. And third, what is super great is that it works in cloud, not in browser. So you don't have to afraid of being in, let's say, LinkedIn jail, because everything used in cloud on AWS servers. So of course there are for example, some scraping technologies or approaches that I wouldn't recommend. For example, scraping data from Facebook, even though you use proxy server, because you can be banned very quickly. I've tried to use proxy servers and some other, let's say, features. The Facebook recognized very quickly that something, let's say, unexpected is happening. So so these two tools I use, and I combine them because data miner doesn't work everywhere. Phantom Buster, actually, even though the guys approving the features very quickly, and they try to add new. For example, today they added Integromat, so it's actually integrated with Integromat is something like Zapier. So you can add, for example, or create some workflows that hadn't been available, for example, a week ago. So
Okay, good. What we see in the chat, some people don't use data scraping but want to use that. Some of our participants use Phantom Buster, Sales Skill, Data Miner. Oh my God. Some of you are really experienced.
Okay, good. Good.
So Yuri, let's go and let's see people how to scrape data and how to use it for recruitment.
Yeah. Just quick overview about about instant data scraper. So it's I will start with easier stuff because, as you said, some people know it. So very briefly, it's a Chrome extension. It works well for general searches and tables, and that's its limitation because it works preferably only for tables, and it works well for general searches. And actually, as I mentioned, it's limited by simplicity. So without any waiting, let's go jump to the practical demonstration. I'm on my GitHub profile. In order to scrape profiles and email addresses, you have to be logged in to your GitHub account, because otherwise you cannot see contact details. It's easier, and since GitHub is owned by Microsoft, they probably don't want other companies or whoever to see the contact details. So it's quick searches, instant data scraper. It's as I mentioned, it's a Chrome extension, and actually it's super simple. So you don't really have to do anything. You just the system automatically highlights the part that you want to scrape. So which is, I can see it's what I want to see, and it doesn't have to end only with one website. So since I have already located next button, so system will scroll actually automatically all data. So this is the simplest data extraction or data scraping that you can use. Here you can see how long it takes, how many rows, pages, and so on. So if I'm fine, for example, let's assume that the crawling has finished. So I will click at stop. And the results I can see here. I can see download the CSV file, which I can upload, for example, to my Google Docs. And here is or we can actually upload it here. Sorry, guys, it takes a while. Or actually, yeah, actually, here is for example the output from LinkedIn, but this site looks like hopefully it could be like that. Damn, sorry. Yeah, actually, what I want to say is that you can upload it to your drive, and you can play around with your datas here, and you can enrich data and so on. So let's try another example, which is actually quite interesting, and it shows the limitations of this tool. And yeah, as you can see, again instant data scraper automatically loads the data from in this case from google.com. So I put the search stackoverflow.com/users, and I'm interested in email addresses. So let's locate the next button, because if I want to, sorry, start crawling. I was testing it before, but anyway, I can see the result, and since there are only 3 pages, yeah. And here again, you can see the results that I was showing again. Yeah, and this is, as you can see, what this tool actually limits is you have to play around with data, but it's actually fine for us, because we have the information about the link and about the name. But what we dislike is those other stuff, because for example here we can see we can see that email addresses are being split up. So through for example, formulas in Google and so on, we can very easily to extract, or for example, through concatenate functions, we can have those email addresses. It's one actually way, which is, let's say, more time consuming for us, but I just picked this example because I wanted to show the limits of this tool. But for example, for GitHub, it works really well because data are in various in various columns. So it's how it actually works. Again, let's switch to data miner. It's a tool that I use for LinkedIn and social networks because instant data scraper has a problem with LinkedIn, or actually doesn't work, at least for me, on LinkedIn. And data miner actually works on Facebook and LinkedIn, so that's why I use him, and it's one reason. And second, it uses recipes, and it's heavily customized tool. So and it's for free again. So let's check it out. Again, as you can see, it's a Chrome extension, and except of data miner, you should also extract a Chrome extension, and it's called recipes. Because recipes, it's predefined, let's say, scraper that you can either create. If you have a paid version, which I don't have, you see the public recipes that have been created by someone else, and it's good. And there are some, I can import data collection and so on, which is not so much interesting. So let's suppose that I want to do some kind of, again, very basic search on linkedin.com, and I'm interested in people. Let's say, for example, Prague. Yeah, it's, again, I just want to demonstrate it quickly. We can do some kind of detailed search whatsoever. You can use let's close this one. You can use also some other string and so on. Data miner is here, and let's create our recipe for LinkedIn. Yeah, and on top of that, there are multiple videos, so you can find lots of tutorials on that. I just want to have live version. Hopefully, it will be working. I was testing it. Yeah, actually, it's quite easy. Here you can choose the either list or detail page. Since I'm interested in list of contact, so I will pick the list. If I, for example, would like to scrape the data from particular candidate, I would choose the detail page. It's also, for example, for web pages that contain data about people. Rows are pretty much straightforward. So rows indicates the data from LinkedIn. In this case, I mean, information about candidates. So sorry, this page, rows, and since I want to extract the data about candidates, I pick the, yeah, and this is the most trickiest part, because you have to know which part the scraper will scrape, basically. And since if you know a little bit HTML and coding, you can estimate it, because this is the search result info, and the system will show you which part you will be scraping. And let's go to columns. So columns actually are those information. So here you can choose. What I usually do is I pick the, let's start with the text. So I'll pick the job title. Field itself is a text, and you have to correctly indicate what you want. And system again will highlight which part you want to scrape. Yeah, and here you can check the output, how it will look like in the file. Let's check the location. Again, it's a text field, it's not a link. I have to hover with my cursor and press the shift. And again, I can see it sublime level. If you know how to code, you can check the selected HTML here. And yeah, and again, I can see it's Prague, so I'm fine. And LinkedIn, say, I don't know, URL. Of course, I want to have the URLs to use. And it's this part, search result link, because it's a link basically. And again, it's the same. I will check and I can see the links on LinkedIn profiles, and I can add as columns as I want basically. Then there is every data scraper wants to see the identification of next button, next and previous. So here we can see where the button is. So confirm. Actions. Here usually you can set lots of things. For example, I can scrape not only data about candidates, but I can visit every profile and scrape data from those profiles, which is this part, for example. Or I can set up some other things. But usually, if you need something very simple, just keep it blank, and here you can set some, or you can create some JavaScript code as well, and do some kind of let's say adjustments for this code. And yeah, so let's, okay, webinars or LinkedIn. Okay, let's name it LinkedIn Scrapper. Save it. And yeah, since I'm interested in multi-page pagination, because I want to go, not probably all of these 70,000 results, but the maximum is 1,000. It takes some time because actually, as I mentioned, it works in a browser. So actually, that's the problem, because if you do it very often, LinkedIn will detect that you do something on, let's say, unusual activities. So okay, let's assume I've finished. Data, you can see here what is quite easy is that you can again download data in CSV file, and hopefully we can see it again. Yeah, and here is the Excel spreadsheet where you can have information about candidates. So you can do whatever you want. This is just sorry, this is another file that I was testing. It's a location, position, and link. Actually, if we would like to have a name, we have to do some kind of sub scrapping. It will be name, LinkedIn, and position and location. Yeah, and that's actually how it works. I can use it for some other applications. It works on actually Facebook as well, but when I was testing it on Facebook, it's just, for example, 5 pages of scrapping and you get Facebook banned. So for example, on Facebook, I wouldn't recommend it at all. So yeah, so that's for data mining. Do we have any questions right now, or can I? Okay, so I'm here. Okay, so let's move to the next tool. Oh, sorry. Maybe before we start next tool, let me answer the question. How are we moving to enriching? Yeah, actually, it's Lenor. It's more for Phantom Buster or some other tools or Phantom Buster. I will show you right now. We will get candidate email address. I will show you right now how to actually get email addresses of candidates that you have in your LinkedIn network. So let's do some quick introduction about Phantom Buster. For those who don't know it, it's a cloud-based tool that is not only for recruiters, it's for grow hackers, for salespeople, and creates automation workflows and integrations, and it has multiple applications. So just brief introduction. So let's move to the menu. So this is how it actually looks like basically. So you can create, as I said, automating workflows. Here you can create phantoms, which phantoms are those actions that you can do on specific networks. It's pretty much straightforward. So you can, for example, scrape data from LinkedIn or Facebook, which is quite risky, or it's great. Some of you asked how to get candidates' email, so you can use any of these. As I said, it's free tool. You can just register. And it's for 14 days for free. I use it for LinkedIn mainly, and let me show you how you can extract your own connections with email addresses, which is pretty much like the most interesting for each recruiter. And actually, LinkedIn disabled this feature, so nobody is able to natively download data, including email addresses. So you need two phantoms, those micro applications. So first of them, it's LinkedIn Contact Extractor, and the second is LinkedIn Profile Scrapper. So you have to set it up. That's quite easy. You need a LinkedIn session cookie, which is some kind of code. Phantom Buster has a Chrome extension that you can download. It's for free, and it will automatically connect LinkedIn to your Phantom Buster account, let's say. And here you can highlight how many contacts do you want to extract. If I will delete it, it will extract all my connections. If you, for example, have thousands of connections, it will be super, let's say, it will take a very long time. So let's start with 100, let's say. And I'm interested in sorted names. Yeah, so let's click save. Yeah, and another advantage of this application is that it runs in cloud and it can run repeatedly. So you can disconnect your or switch off your laptop, but the system will work still like overnight and working on behalf. For example, you can get the notifications when the activity is finished. Yeah, so let's relaunch it. I was testing it for a while ago. Yeah, and here you can see the status window. So the system is connecting to my LinkedIn profile and starting to extract data. I put there only 100 contacts because time is running for webinar. So it's, I think, for demonstration, it's more than enough. Yeah, and here, what I could theoretically do is to download CSV file, put it to my spreadsheet, but there will be no email addresses. So I will not do it. I will just copy address of this link, because actually the Phantom Busters models, or how to say, they can connect each other. So, and then let's create the setup again. And here I already have this link. So it's a link on Cage from the previous Phantom Buster. So and here we go. So let's, again, I will relaunch it. So yeah, and system, actually what is happening right now, the LinkedIn profile scraper visits the profiles and actually saves the email addresses for those of my connections that I have downloaded. Of course, if it's possible, some people it doesn't work in 100%, but it's the automated way how you can get from LinkedIn your own connections, including email addresses. So it's really really useful, and you can or actually what is also possible to do, if you are fine only with LinkedIn profiles and names and positions, you can keep it as it is, for example. But this is how actually system works in action. So here it works. Yeah, and actually what is also good on Phantom Buster is that it will give you some kind of intelligent recommendations. So for example, for those of you you cannot, let's say, or you are not able to assess, for example, how much you should do automation, the system will basically prevent you to being blocked. So it's also good because they somehow have some kind of algorithms where can measure, for example, when it's risky and when it's not risky. As I mentioned before, for Facebook, it's extremely risky. And for Facebook scraping, you should use proxy servers and ideally try it from not your personal Facebook account, but from some another account. Yeah, so let's maybe not abort, but let's now we are basically uploading this file. Yeah, and don't take the formatting, but as you can see, I just put a few contacts, but as you can see, the email addresses are basically here. So yeah. So if you want to do some kind of extract your own connections, you can do it like that, and actually the same principle is applicable for any other Phantom Buster. For example, what is also very useful is LinkedIn network booster, but you have to automate the message. I mean the invitation. And here you can see, for example, description. So how to use various phantoms. So it's very easy. And what I also use is LinkedIn auto follow, which is less aggressive. It basically auto follows candidates that you want to follow. So it's just to follow them, not add them, and they revisit your profile, and you can message them, or they can send you an invitation. And it's for me, it's in IT, since I'm in IT recruitment, it's less aggressive, and but you can get a lot, because your profile will get noticed. And again, it's really easy to do. Here are these workflows, for example, with Lemlist. And yeah, for example, for email addresses, if you want to extract email addresses from website, you can use email extractor. Or you can use, for example, instead of extract data miner that I was showing, instant data miner that I was showing in the beginning, you can use Github profile scrapper, and it will basically scrape the data from your GitHub profile, for example. Yeah, you can do it with Slack, GitHub, basically whatever you want. You can even combine each of them. So it's also very useful. Yeah, so that's basically all what I wanted to share. Let's take a look. Questions. Yeah, and actually, I will in the presentation, I will also share the links on all of these files, but you can basically Google it as well if you want the instant data scraper, a data miner, whatsoever. And you can use the this is what I mentioned. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, you actually previously you had to use you had to do it manually, but now you will install Phantom Buster extension, and you will just click the cookie, and the system will do automatically. So thanks for the link. Profiles Phantom. Yeah, you can save the. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, that not all information in this file are useful. Like, for example, or maybe photos of candidates could be useful, but if your system enables, for example, attaching photos to candidates or profile, it's also a place to go. So. And it's also, for example, Phantom Buster is also good for enriching your data as well, or you can use any other tools. But since we are focusing only on data scraping, it's yeah. So hopefully it's was useful for you. Web Scrapper is also good from extension. Enrich data on Google Docs, not download with Phantom Buster. Actually, let me check.
I tried to participate, but I was muted. But in general, we have 7 questions more besides chat and ask question field.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, to reply the question regarding Google Docs, there is a add-on to Google Docs called LinkedIn Leads and LinkedIn Prospector, but both of them are paid. So yeah, and they are quite limited. So I think there's 50 contacts per free version, which is not very useful if you have a very long list of contacts that you need to enrich. So but it's like it's also a place or option to go and does not do not. Yeah, so that's the answer to Lenore. And of course there are multiple other tools, but for me, since we had, let's say, we have very limited amount of time, so I wanted to pick the free that I use. There were more, but tools come and leave, and that's the problem. So it's possible that in, I don't know, 5 months the Phantom Buster will not exist. It will be maybe the same case like Zap Info, which doesn't work anymore. So
There is an interesting question from Elena. If you don't have next button when you scrape the website,
if you will not do it in data miner or actually everywhere, the system will scrape only one page.
the whole one?
Yeah, the whole one. For example, the LinkedIn result page. I mean, those 10 on one search result page on LinkedIn.com, you have like, I think, 10 people, if I'm not mistaken. So it will scrape only 10 results. So,
No, but the question was if you don't have this next button 1, 2, 3, 4, 28. So if they just appear and appear.
Actually, the system will go automatically unless you stop it. But for example, if you want to scrape 1,000 pages on LinkedIn.com for, I mean, 500, for example, pages on LinkedIn.com, it's quite likely that you might get a LinkedIn ban. So for this case, for example, when you want to really, scrape hundreds of rows, I would go with Phantom Buster because, as I mentioned, it runs in cloud. So there is always kind of, mediator because it runs in AWS. So there is no, your profile is basically not directly tied to this activity. So LinkedIn cannot or shouldn't be able to detect it. They know that something is happening, but the system itself will prevent, for example, so they mentioned that you should use it sparingly, or for example, and as I said, you can, for example, do some kind of for example, to scrape automatically one day, for example, 200 results, the day after another 200 results, and system automatically, or Phantom Buster remembers when you finished. And it runs in cloud, so you don't have to do anything, and in 3 days you can have I don't know, lots of results. So
Okay. So if you open ask question, there are 5 more. Have you found it?
Yeah. Use the free version or the paid version. For all I've shown you, I use free. And there is one hack. I don't know if I should mention it, but hopefully people will appreciate it and they will take it as some kind of added value for our webinar. Is that maybe guys from Phantom Buster will not like me, but the system works even on fake email addresses. So if you use any generator, I don't want to recommend anything specific, but if you use any email generator, you can have actually free account forever without paying, because if you just register, you have it for free for 14 days. But if you know,
You can also use your name plus, because plus is actually the same name, but system thinks that it's another name. For example, Anastasia plus one at gmail.com, Anastasia plus two at gmail.com, and these emails will be different for the system, and you can use free trials for the whole of your life.
yeah, exactly. That's the point. Of course, it's working so far, and yeah, the question is how long it will work. Hopefully, those 1,355 people will keep it for yourself. But yeah, actually, it's the and that's why I wanted to avoid two paid solutions. And I should maybe mention that I'm not associated to any of those tools. I use it because they are for free. You can download it, you can play around with it, and yeah, we will receive email address from those extensions. From Phantom Buster, yes, you can use even one Phantom, which actually cooperates with Hunter.io, which basically enrich your LinkedIn profiles about email addresses, but it's, I would say, more aggressive tactics. So they notified users that they should use it sparingly. But it's also another option that you can use. But if you want to use your own connections with all email addresses, as I showed you, it works well. Of course, you have to do it in how to say, in bulks, not, for example, 1,000 and 1,000. It can be problematic if you have, I don't know, 20,000 connections. Or what you can do is you can filter, you can use some filters. For example, download only your connections, for example, only recruiters, and email addresses only on recruiters, for example. And then you can, check them, they have working email addresses or private. I was under the impression that data management doesn't work on LinkedIn. Help us to understand how it's working for you. Yeah, it was not working, but it works now. I don't know. That's true that it was not working, but it works for me. And yeah, guys are chatting each other. When I use it on LinkedIn Recruiter on my personal project folder, LinkedIn links, Scrap doesn't show the actual public profile. Yeah, that's the point. There was Chrome extension called Quickly from guy called Andre Bradshaw. You can I follow him on GitHub, so you can let me. I can show you his. Hopefully he will not mind, because it's public. And actually he's recruiter himself, and he creates the various scrapping extensions and recruitment tools and so on. So if you are knowledgeable about how to download various those repos and install them, you can do it very quickly. Some of them he offers for free, for some of them you have to pay, but Quickly was it's an answer what Pretty was asking in the question. And actually what I really recommend from Andre is a Meetup Scrapper, where you can scrape profiles from meetup.com. Just let me check. And again, it's public. So if you want to scrape the candidates from Meetup, you can use it as well. It works for me. And that was what we mentioned. Are there any other questions remaining? Can you show how to scrape second page? On link, So on yeah, to okay. Yeah, there. Let me go back to the.
There is another question. I think we didn't answer it. How can we make the data miner recipes public?
Yeah, actually, that's the point. If you have a paid version, I could share it with you, but since I don't have, I cannot share it with you. But there are multiple videos, and I hopefully people will make it. What is the most difficult are maybe to identifying those HTML elements on the website. Yeah, or just ping me a message, and yeah, I was trying to share, or let me check if I can somehow share it, but I was trying to find out, and yeah, sharing recipes is not available in your version. Yeah, okay, so
Your profile.
yeah, I will have to upgrade, but for all of you guys, I think the free version is absolutely sufficient. So yeah, the only what is missing are those sharing recipes and for example data collections, which is some kind of additional features. But if you want to scrape data from google.com or from LinkedIn or from Facebook, it's absolutely free version is more than sufficient. Questions?
I think we have answered all the questions that we have here in the chat and in the ask a question field. Probably just another one from Tim. Can you show how to scrape a second page as well?
Yeah, sure, let me check.
It's a good question, by the way.
Yeah.
It depends on the website address. If it doesn't change it.
Yeah, actually, the question was like specifically from LinkedIn.com or from Google or from where, or
Anyway.
General question. Sorry, I'm interested in people.
Go to any list and just click on the second page.
Yeah, or let me show you. Let's go back to. Yeah, the point is that you have to. Yeah, you have to, if you want to scrape additional pages, you have to identify the next button, and is that question that they are asking, or
I
yeah,
think it will help.
yeah, and you have to identify the element on website, which is in this case it's usually if something is broken, you have to yeah, you have to check because this, for example, if the pages are not changing, it's obvious that something is wrong, so the system is not working. So yeah, and previously the system was actually popping. I mean the pages were changing here, but now I don't know why it's not happening. Probably they've updated the application to not be so aggressive for LinkedIn, and that's why actually maybe it works right now, because in the past a data miner had a problem with LinkedIn, and and as you can see, it goes by 10 people every page, quite slower. You can even set the timing, for example, in seconds here. So if you want to prevent the link to being banned on LinkedIn, you can do it like here.
Tim tells you in tab 4 with
and then you have to test the navigation. There is a button, test navigation, and it should be working. If not, usually something is broken. But a data miner is also good, for example, for classical website. If you have a for example, website containing lots of information about candidates, so you can use it for that. But for example, for LinkedIn, if you want to do scraping if you want to scrape lots of data, I would go with Phantom Buster because it's less risky for you. Questions? I think that's all, or
yeah, I think we have answered all the questions. So guys, in case you don't have any questions more, definitely I will share the presentation and I will share the recording. So you can go with Jiri step by step again by yourself and yeah, use free versions of the tools, free trials is everything we love, all of us, of course. One more announcement from my part. If you would like to have dedicated sourcing training on any topic that is important for your team, it can be data scraping, it can be sourcing to management, it can be remote talent management, it can be just advanced LinkedIn sourcing. We can do it for you exclusively. There is a special offer for all course participants. So if you want some additional knowledge, personal knowledge for your team, only for you, about sourcing and recruitment, contact me and I will tell you all the details. And I think we have to say goodbye to each other till the next Thursday because next Thursday is our super interesting workshop about how to source when you don't have budget, you don't have tools, you don't have anything, and please go and find candidates. It will be really exciting next Thursday. And thank you, Yuri, for this great education about data scraping. Guys, if you will have any questions about data scraping, please contact Yuri. He is so open and he always online. Actually,
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being active. Thanks for your questions. Thanks, Yuri, for your knowledge and for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation.
Next Thursday. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hi everyone.
Have a nice day. Bye bye, guys.
Bye bye.